Hi, today we are going to discuss about how to deploy an NSS server on Azure Cloud. The NSS server is sitting in between the Zscaler cloud and SIEM solutions to collect the log and forward the log to SIEM solutions. NSS servers are VM-based solutions which can be deployed on the Azure or VMware. Based on your corporate, you can deploy it, and the outbound connections will be initiated from the NSS servers. So when you go to config.zscaler.com and choose the appropriate cloud name and you choose NSS configuration, you can see the list of the ports needs to be opened from uh, NSS server to the outbound world. So it may be towards the outbound Zscaler hub IPs. Only you can restrict it or you can put any. So always recommended to have the granular policies on your firewalls to limit the accesses, and also the SIM IP addresses also you need to whitelist with TCP SIM listening port. Once these firewall ports and protocols are enabled, you can go to the Zscaler portal under administration on our server. You can configure the uh, server with the server names. And when you configure the server, you will have the option to download the SSL certificate, and also you have the option to regenerate the new certificate as well. Once you download this certificate and kept in your local database, local machine to do the upload it into the NSS servers. Then the next step is in on the Azure cloud, you cannot directly go ahead and install from the marketplace. You need to use the VHT files, and using that VHT files, you need to deploy the VMs through the scripting. In order to download the files, you need to use Azure Storage Explorer. So in Azure Storage Explorer, you need to connect your Azure cloud, and also you need to connect your the Zscaler storage container as well. Zscaler storage container will be something like this. They will provide the URL with the SAS tokens. These tokens should be used to collect the connect to the specific blob container. So in order to do that, you need to choose a storage account service, and the shared service says when you click next, it will give you the option to enter the service URL. When you enter the service URL, no need to use this NSS folder name, and you can use the ZS prod. When you click next, this will get connected. Okay, under this ZS prod, you can see blob container name. Under blob container, you can see the NSS. Yeah, this is the name of the NSS OS disk. You can use this NSS OS disk, and at the same time, you need to connect the your subscription as well. Under your subscription, you need to create a blob containers. Let me showcase you how to create the blob container on your subscription. You can use storage accounts. Uh, in the storage accounts, you can create any one of the deployment one. I already created one storage account as this one, Azure NSS deployment. Under this, I have created two blob containers. One blob container is for having the actual VHD file, and the target is nothing but once the deployment is completed, the VHD file will be moved to this target one. This will be referenced in the VMs as well when it boot up. Okay, so these are the steps. Once you create this one, you have to upload the file. How will you upload? So here you have attached already, right? The local storage and uh, your subscription and Zscaler storage blob container. You need to go here and select the respective one VHD file and click copy. And when you go to the your subscription, under your subscription, you can select the blob container. Under the blob container, you can paste it. So I already pasted here. So this will take some times based on the performance of your region. Once you save this, the next step is you need to create the config file. Okay. So in the config file, um, you need to define the name of the server. The name of the server you can give whatever it may be, and the location is which location. Based on that, you can give the location name, resource name, and create the new resource group. If you want to create a new resource group, you can click yes. Otherwise, you can leave with no. And the storage name, and the storage name here we are using is Azure deployment. And the create new storage, if you want to create a new storage, you can give yes. Otherwise, you can keep no. And vnet name is used this one, and the vnet prefix is this. And I'm gonna use two interfaces for my NSS server, one for the management purpose, another one is for the services. Management is nothing but updating my NSS servers, taking the management access and doing configuration, or all through the management interface. So I'm using one management subnet and its prefix, and one service interface and its prefix. And I'm going to use two NIC cards, one for the management, another one for the service purpose. And the VM size, you can use the VM size based on your bandwidth requirements. I'm using the standard one for the testing purposes or the lab purposes. The destination storage URL is nothing but the same one, and the target is NSS target. And the source URI, you can get it from here itself. When you go to here, you can click on properties, and the properties you can see the URI. That URI will be used in the config file. Once you do that, you need to open the PowerShell with administrative. I have saved these two files under uh, C drive slash NSS. Once you go there, so in this folder, I have both the config file and the deployment script. I need to go with this deployment script as of now. Uh, So before that, let me save this file, because I just changed the name of the file, VM, sorry, name of the VM. So I'm just gonna save that file as well. Then deployment script and the config file. So there are certain configurations, certain subscription related items are there. When you click it, it will ask you to give the subscription details and proceed yes or no. So I'm just skipping those configuration items, since it is specific to my account details. Once I enter the subscription information and log into my subscription, it will ask me to enter and to continue. I can use yes, I can continue this. So again, it's asking me to continue. I'm just putting yes. So all the configuration checks will happen. Once it is happened, the provisioning will started. All pre-checks are done with the help of the config underscore file. This will ask me to enter why to proceed it or not to stop it. So I can proceed it with why. This will take some time. After complete this, you will get the success informations. So now what you can do, you can go to the um, console, Azure console portal, and verify whether the new VM is created or not. Under virtual machines, you could see NSS Web 2 is created. You can go to NSS Web 2 and you see the IP address of that machine. So this is the IP address. You can use the IP address. So if you want to see the interfaces and other stuffs, you can go to um, under networking. You can go to net in NICOD 1 and NICOD 2. As I said, NICOD 2 is used for the management, sorry, the service purpose, and NICOD 1 or NICOD 0 is used for the management purpose. So if you want to do the management purpose functions, you need to use these private IP addresses, these public IP addresses. If you want to configure the service interfaces, you could need to choose it. By default, management interfaces will be attached with the configurations on the NSS server, whereas the service interface information you need to configure later once you log into the NSS server. I'm going to use my putty solution to access the NSS server through the management interface. I'm using the public IP address of the NSS server and trying to access it. It's not accessible, so better you can go to a serial console and see the status whether it is loaded or not. You can give some more time to load it. Hardly it will take 10 minutes to complete the entire configuration and loading all the VHD files and other stuffs into the VM solution. So we have to give another 10 minutes to complete this process. Now you could see the NSS server is booted and it's asking you to log in. Either you can use the serial console to log in the NSS server and configure. Rest of the configuration can be done over there. Otherwise, you can use a putty solution and there you can access the NSS servers. You can access it through the default credentials. Let's verify the status using sudo NSS status. It's asking you to put the certificate key to connect to the Zscaler cloud. So certificate has to be forwarded through the WinSCP or FileZilla client towards this particular server. So you can open FileZilla here. And the IP address of NSS server will be here under overview. Copy the server, or either you can use the public IP address or private IP address. If you have connectivity, let me try with private IP address over here. And the password and usernames are default because we were not changed till now. So always recommended to you change the default password to any password that based on your corporate compliance requirements. Yeah, once you are able to log in, you need to you already downloaded this NSS certificate, right? That certificate needs to move to the NSS server. Now you could see the certificate is moved to the NSS server. The NSS server certificate is there. Then you need to install the certificate. In order to install the certificate, there are certain commands you can use. Zscaler help portal to do those configurations. So when you go to here, we already copied the NSS certificate. We log into the VM instance and install the NSS certificate. So we were using the same name for the NSS server, so we can use the same command over here without any change. If you modify the file name, then you need to change the command as well. Now the certificates are successfully installed. Once the certificates are successfully installed, you need to do the NSS dump config to validate the configuration. So here there is no service interfaces are configured. So service interfaces is nothing but NICAD 2. You can see here the NICAD 0 and NICAD 1. One will be the service interface. You need to copy these IP addresses and go to the NSS server and sudo NSS configure. So I'm not gonna change the NSS server name server, and I'm not gonna add any new NSS servers. If you want to add, you can use yes, and you can enter the IP address. Maybe you can use default Google DNS server IP. And if you wish to add new name servers, you can use yes and add. Otherwise, you can no. And the IP address of the NSS service interface and its net mask is 24, and the local gateway is 3.1. The changes are applied. Once these changes are applied, you need to download the binaries. So binaries download, you can use uh, the command update now to download the binaries. So before that, you can go ahead and see if there is any if the operating system is running with 24 or 10. So you can use uname minus n command. I think yeah, here the operating system is 24 because the earlier it was 10, and Zscaler is planning to do the new upgrade. So it's always recommended to upgrade all the 10 versions to 24 versions. There is a link to see the migrate options. You can leverage that. You have to put update now. So in order to do that, you have to go sudo NSS update now command and hit enter. Yeah, the script is trying to fetch the new latest version. This will take another 5 to 10 minutes. So we can back after download is completed. If your NSS server version is running with 10, then it's recommended to upgrade this to version 24. So this is the link. You can leverage the options to download it. There is a file path, VHT file path to, you can use that VHT file path to upgrade your current version to the 24 version operating system. So the all the configurations parameters are there. So I think before we migrate Zscaler migrated to the latest version on their cloud, we need to do this migration operation. Otherwise, there are chances to failures. Let's see the status. Yeah, the installation is completed, and you could see um, new package is installed. Then you can validate the NSS status now. The NSS service is not running. You can do a start command to run the service. you have auto start options as well. So you can use enable auto start. So whenever a reboot happens, all the times the service will be automatically started when you use auto start command. And also you can use NSS help to verify uh, the commands and see the list of commands which are available under NSS. The service is started and you enable this auto start option as well. Yeah. Now you can go to the console and validate the status of the NSS server. So I was used the certificates of this particular NSS server. So uh, the health status should be changed to healthy if that server is able to connect to the cloud. And there are other verification options as well. You can use this verification option, whether the connection is established towards the Zscaler cloud or not. You can use this as well to validate whether the connections are successful or not. Yeah, connection is established. You can re-verify the health status. This may take sometimes. Yeah, now the health status is changed to healthy. Once the VM status is changed to healthy, then you need to configure the NSS feeders. NSS feeders, you can click add NSS feeder and what purpose you are going to use. So since you configured with NSS for firewall, then you can choose that and select the yeah, select the test one and give the name of the feeder and SIM um, TCP port number uh, you can mention and IP address you can mention over here. And based on the particular SIM solution, you can use the output feed type. So if it is QRadar, you can use QRadar, and the default one will be there with the output format. If you want to customize it, you can very well go ahead and customize it as well. So if you want to do some criterias, what kind of logs has to be forwarded, all the logs may not be required for your corporate, right? In that case, you can do some custom criteria mapping, like from where. Maybe you can see only from the location, only from the specific location, or from specific client IP addresses, and to where maybe you can say like only the traffic towards a specific category, URL category. Likewise, you can filter or you can limit your logs, and based on your need, you can add these filters and you can forward the logs to SIM solutions. So like we discussed, here these are the mechanisms we have to follow when you want to install NSS server on Azure cloud. So keep in mind, we have to use VHT files to create a NSS servers. There is no NSS servers is on the marketplace as of now. You have to do it via the scripting. So first of all, you need to link your storage with Zscaler storage blobs and copy the storage blob from the Zscaler to your local subscription. Once you do that, you need to configure, write a scripting that means the config file to define what are the parameters you are going to use when you are configuring the VM machine. Once you define that config file, you need to execute with a shell script, PowerShell script. When you execute it, it will ask you to log into the subscription and it will ask you to select the right subscription if you have under your subscription. If you have multiple tenant or multiple role-based restrictions are there, then it will ask you to select the appropriate tenant ID, tenant, and then it will ask you to proceed to configure the parameters based on the configuration that you pull send it via the config file. Once the VM is ready up and running, you have to attach the certificates from your local machine to the VM machine through the NSS through the WinSCP or the FileZilla client. Once the certificate is uploaded, you need to run the certificate and download the binaries. Once the binaries are downloaded, you need to see if there is any the NSS status is changed to running or not. Otherwise, you need to start the NSS status. Once the NSS status is ready and available, then the status on your portal will be changed to healthy. Once the health is changed, shows you, you need to create a feeders to forward the log to the respective SIM solutions. So SIM here, the SIM will listen with the TCP ports. There is no UDP kind of forwarding here. And also you need to ensure that all the outbound configurations, like port numbers and IP addresses are open on your firewalls towards the Zscaler cloud and towards your DNS and SIM solutions. That's it as of now. If you have any queries, you can reach out me on below email IDs. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.